Fox News Alert, a live look at the markets on this Monday morning as everybody absorbs the Brexit vote. Dow down about 1.3% right now after tanking more than 600 points on Friday. A lot of shocked people who are involved with the markets. But Donald Trump praising this decision of Britain's exit from the EU. He says it's only the beginning.
They wanted their independence. They didn't want to be governed by somebody that never even went there or never saw them. And it won't be the last. You'll have other countries right now. You're going to have other countries come out and they're going to say, we want to vote also. It will not be the last.
Former Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee and former Republican candidate for president just back from England. You were in Liverpool while all of this happened. And what did you learn from being there?
Well, I think what I saw was what I'm seeing in America is that people are tired of big government telling them what to do, what to think. They're tired of multiculturalism being shoved down their throats at the expense of patriotism. They realize globalism has driven their wages down, cost them their pensions, their homes are in foreclosure. People in America are frustrated. That's exactly what I saw in the UK last week, and that's what drove the vote. 72% of the voters went to vote. This was not a fluke. This was very intentional on the part of working class, rank-and-file British citizens, and a lot of people from the Labour Party went over and voted to get out, and a lot of the elites in the Conservative Party, they voted to stay in.
So interesting. So you know, you're talking about the crossover vote and Labor and the Democratic vote here.
Right.
And look at the Rust Belt. Look at industrial areas in England who voted to get out. You're saying Liverpool compares in your mind to where in the United States?
Maybe Sacramento. I mean, it's a certainly left of center type city. They're very geared toward a more maybe socialist environment, and I mean that in a kind way, but what I saw was that there are still many people who feel that they love their country. They're very proud of their traditions in Great Britain, as they should be. They have a wonderful tradition in history, and they feel like that's being diluted by unrestricted immigration, people coming not to make Great Britain great, but coming to cash in on the economy of the UK without really having a loyalty to the UK. Well, what do we see in America? We see people burning the American flag, waving the flag of a foreign country, and telling us to shut up and let them in and let them do what they want to. And Americans have just finally said, wait a minute, we are a welcoming nation. We're not stupid. And we're not going to lose who we are. And so I think it was a blow for globalism. It was a blow for multiculturalism. And it was a stand for patriotism and nationalism.
Because those are the ideas that we all sort of grew up thinking were a good thing, right? The more globalized you are, the more multicultural. You learn it in school, all of those things. Clinton campaign has to be a little unnerved by what they saw unfold in England on Friday. Here's Robbie Mook, the campaign spokesperson, talking about that over the weekend. Watch this.
I think voters were taking stock of how both candidates responded to the situation. Hillary Clinton came out very quickly, obviously said that the voters had spoken, but said that we need to make sure that middle-class families' savings, hard-earned savings, aren't affected by what happens. In complete contrast, Donald Trump went out, talked about his golf course, all the fancy plumbing at his resort, and said that he was actually glad that the British pound was plummeting because it would help his bottom line.
That's total gobbledygook on the part of Robbie Mook. I mean, first of all, Donald Trump wasn't out there talking about so much his golf course. He said the market will be better. The pound is you know, this is going to be a good thing for the average worker. He meant it was going to be good for private enterprise, for business. The truth is, Hillary Clinton completely missed what should have been a very obvious position, but she's out of touch. She doesn't talk to construction workers who've lost their jobs. This idea of, well, they've lost their 401ks. They're worried about a paycheck, Martha. Their pensions have long since disappeared. And if you're for example, in America, if you're a male in your 50s and lose your job, 90% chance you'll never find another job for the rest of your life. People are worried about that.
Internationally, the feeling is that Putin's very pleased with what happened, that he sees this as a sort of breaking down of the collective across Western Europe and including the UK that has been a bulwark against him. So Ukraine and Crimea in the back pocket, Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, very much in his sight right now. Does that concern you? And how much do you think Donald Trump thinks about that, understands that?
I think there's a big difference between NATO and the military pact that we have and the EU, which had become a bureaucratic monster, creating another layer of government on top of the government that people already felt and paid for. I think it's a very different position. Now, a lot of people are trying to say, well, it just shows that there's no appetite for NATO. No, there's an appetite, I think, for a mutual cooperative defense mechanism. There is no appetite and a growing, let's say, lack of appetite for another level of bureaucracy that shoves things down the throats, including the way vegetables are viewed and things that really have nothing to do with some detached bunch of bureaucrats who haven't been elected by anybody.
But Donald Trump has basically said that he thinks he can work with Putin. Essentially, he has suggested that. But if Putin sees this as an opportunity to move into those countries, which he has made very clear is a desire to put back the Soviet Union and put it back together, what do you think Donald Trump would do about it? And how much do you think he understands that part of the story?
Well, I don't think, first of all, Vladimir Putin would ever be flying fighters over U.S. Navy destroyers like Putin did, knowing that Obama wasn't going to do a thing about it. He sees Obama as weak. I think he sees Trump as both strong and unpredictable. And I don't think that Putin would ever want to try some things, because Trump's not the kind of guy to be trifled with. And I think that he would be a very strong president and the kind that would flex the U.S. muscle in the right kind of way.
All right. We got to go. Governor, thank you. Always
good to see you, Martha.
Good to have you here this morning.